All right, we're Brody Roth, captain of the football team, captain of the rugby team, and newly appointed president of Spark Study Club. Welcome, Brody.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome. I feel like we're on like a talk show or something like that, but really, all we're trying to do at this sort of strange moment in time when most people are pretty sedentary at their home studying for finals, it's cold, it's winter outside. What we're trying to do is reflect a little bit on some of our experiences in the realm of exercise and mindfulness, some of the stuff we've done in Spark Study Club, and how maybe we can do some of that in the at-home environment. So, Brody, would you mind sharing just a little bit of your experience with
us? Yeah, absolutely. So being a part of the Spark Mind Club emphasizes being mindful in the movements that you do. Obviously, thinking about what you're doing it before you're doing it. And as you said, everyone in this time is kind of laying down, not having to get out of bed really, not having to think about what they have to do tomorrow, where they have to go, because it's all happening in the same space. And I think being a part of not only Nutrier Strength and having you as a coach, having intent behind form and appropriate load and things like that, but now being a part of Spark and having a new kind of stimulation at the end of a workout is really an interesting thing. And if I'm going to pass it on to you and you want to go over what that stimulation means and how we get there, that'd be great.
Yeah, first I just got to say that I'm so happy that you said that. We are at a unique time in human history where like you said, our whole day can be in like a 5x5 space. Maybe we walk to the bathroom or to the fridge or something like that. But in this remote learning setting, some people are going throughout their entire day, not going much farther than 20 feet from their bedroom. And even when we were in school, not even necessarily in a strength training program or a club like ours or something like that, like think about how many steps you took, Brody, just covering the day, like moving through the hallways, climbing stairs, back on, potentially all that stuff. Like that stuff is gone. So I think more than ever, this is needed. And I'd be happy to answer the question you said. So basically, we call this club Spark Study Club, Spark Mind, Spark Creativity. We've used a bunch of different terms for it before. It all hinges on that word spark, which is actually the title of a book by John Ratey, who we've discussed before, which essentially, John Ratey, what he did was he broke down research, like stacks and stacks of research in the areas of psychology, neuroscience, neuropharmacology, like all this stuff that he was really, really good at, and made it digestible. He put it into a book and made it very readable for the average person like me to pick up and go through. And I honestly think that book changed my life. So the question coming out of the back end of that book and what leads us to this conversation, ones we've had before, is how can we best use movement and strategic mindfulness or focused attention training to improve the learning environment. So the mood, focus, and wakefulness of a student, the mood, focus, and wakefulness of an adult, of a practitioner, an educator. Like, you know, how can we put all that together? Okay, now I don't want to risk going down like the rabbit hole of which neurochemicals do what and pull what levers and the role of we talked about this before, but the actual physical concrete changes happening in the body, not just temporary affect changes, but how the brain is actually changing in the presence of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, IGF-1, et cetera. So again, without going down that road, I'll just say this. If you can get up in this remote environment and move around regularly, that's good. If you can get to the point where you're elevating your heart rate enough, where you're exerting at a high enough level to trigger these responses, I would say that's great. And to do it at least once a day is probably meaningful. Brody, I'm going to share my screen real quick just to pull up that thing that we had discussed. And I won't go through everything, but I will say, let's start right here. This is probably an important acknowledgement that all exercise is not created equal. Right? You know this. We just mentioned you play a full football game on a Friday night Okay, that's different than when you, me, Genty, and Bridge go on a jog through the forest preserves. It's a different level of exhaustion. It's different than you climbing the stairs at New Trier or whatever it might be.
Yep.
With that in mind, these are the four. It's not as concrete and elegant as this, but these are four ways of thinking about how to divide up exercise as physical exertion. This is where everyone is right now, I think. Level 1, minimal exertion, mostly sedentary. The description here refers to back when we were actually in classes, moving between classes, but very minimal. 2 is a mobile classroom environment. The way I think that looks at home is, we've done this with a few different classes before, but like if you're at home doing remote learning and studying, and you have a timer on your phone and you said every hour on the hour, or whatever, some sort of regular cadence, you do some push-ups, some lunges, maybe it's 10, 10, 10, 10 push-ups, 10 lunges, 10 squats, whatever it might be, to try somehow to stay mobile during the course of the day. That's good. That's level 3. I'm going to jump all the way over to level 4. Level 4 is like that feeling after you've really given it your all on a Friday night under the lights, or a full exertion cross country meet or whatever it might be. That's really high level exertion. And what we often are talking about in Spark Study Club is this level 3. So intentionally challenging movement for a specific amount of time, intended to elicit a specific result. In the case of what we're talking about, that result is improved mood, improved focus, improved wakefulness. I'm not going to go through all the research on this because we said we wanted to keep it brief, and that I like to talk, but the short fact is it works. It's been proven to work. We know it firsthand. Science suggests it. So how do we do this at home? How do you get that exercise MVP bump? It takes 20 minutes. The way we usually like to do it is 8 minutes of some kind of cardio, 2 minutes of some kind of strength training, another 8 minutes of cardio, and then 2 minutes of balance. That's at least what was studied. But I think if you're going for 20 minutes on multiple planes of motion, using an RPE, a rate of perceived exertion, somewhere in the area of 7.5 out of 10. So never going to exhaustion, definitely trying. And then coming on the back end of that and doing a few breathing exercises, which could be, I'll actually ask you what your favorite ones are, but like they could be really simple. What are your favorite breathing exercises, if you have one?
I mean, I think we've discussed before, like box breathing. And that's really, I think, one of the only real applicable ones I've used so far, but yeah.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, box breathing is essentially, I'll use the cadence of 4. So 4 seconds in as you inhale, 4 seconds of held breath, 4 seconds exhale, then 4 seconds of held exhalation, so empty lung. And if you think about that, it's inhale, held exhale, held full lungs, exhale, held empty lungs, box breathing, just like that in a regular system, even just going nose to mouth. Okay, so in through the nose, out through the mouth. As long as we're bringing attention to the moment and our cadence and style of breathing, we're probably in a more mindful, thoughtful, more present state. So those two things link up really well. 20 minutes of exercise, a quick breathing routine. If we were to add that to every day, I think a lot of our outcomes, especially as we're staring at finals, will probably improve. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's unfortunate, obviously, not being able to be in person and talking about this stuff and actually put it in practice together. But I say when we did, and we would, a handful of us would wake up early before school, and we'd meet and we'd do this 20-minute regime in the woods. And I would wake up, kind of PO'd, it's early, I don't want to get up. And I'd leave that session not only thinking about whatever topic we bring up at the end, but I would be in a better mood, I'd be energized, and I'd find myself ready to go to class instead of waking up 5-10 minutes before, not eating breakfast, stuff like that, just ready for the day.
That's awesome. That's so good to hear, Brody. So would you say that I think it might be, if people want to try it, want to give it a shot, I think what you're identifying is a strategy that a lot of people use, and that's for pretty much to start your day with this sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I would add to that if you miss it at the front end of the day, it's just as good at lunchtime. You know what I mean? It's just as good at 2 o'clock. So definitely worth trying. All right. Anything else from you?
I'd say even you trying it once, I'd say your parents can try it once, your siblings can try it once, because not only are you sitting doing all this, but I'm sure they're doing the same. Yeah, something to bring to the dinner table, I think.
Dude, I love that. And we've talked about this before. I think you're spot on. I think it's good. I think it's good for the student. I think it's good for the working professional. I think it's good for your siblings. I think it's good for the family. I think it's good for all of us who are stuck at home in this mostly remote, mostly sedentary environment right now. So I'm with you, Brody. Thanks for all you do, man. I appreciate it. I'm excited to share this with people. I'm excited to continue to grow this initiative in this club. And I appreciate all your work, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it. Thank you.